Attention all viewers. This is your kind annual reminder to please wake your Billie Joe Armstrong up. September has ended. Welcome back, troglodytes, to the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's October 1st, and before we get to this guitar, this month is gonna be filled with a bunch of freaky guitars because, hey, it's Halloween. We might as well do as many of them as I can. We're talking the weird, obscure stuff from the 80s, some things people have been asking for years and I've finally been able to find, other oddball models that people just hate for certain reasons. This is the month for that, so be ready for a bunch of freaky stuff. But today, playing off of the Wake Me Up When September Ends Green Day song, we need to wake Billie Joe Armstrong up, and what better way to do it than review his first signature guitar. This is his single-cut Les Paul Jr. with a P90 and a wrap tailpiece. If you've been watching my channel, you have learned that he got a new signature model in 2018. It's the same junior shape, but this time he opted for a humbucker pickup and a radically different pickguard. You can check out the review for that one here. Now, as far as the original run goes, they offered them in black, which is this one, Sunburst, and apparently Gibson just wants to erase everybody's memory. There was a white one as well, but a little bit more on that later. Green Day's frontman had this Les Paul Jr. styled after his own one from 1956, which he nicknamed Floyd. However, he made some radical changes. Instead of a 50s styled neck, he opted for a more 60s neck profile. Now, this isn't like super SG thin or anything, it's got a nice roundedness to it, but it's definitely not a baseball bat anymore. Secondly, instead of a normal P90, he opted for a stacked P90 called the P90H. Now, what stacking the P90 does is it eliminates that 60 cycle hum. You no longer have that in the background. And it's a very popular modification for people to rip that pickup out and put a traditional P90 in there. Unfortunately, this is not going to be the best review of this guitar if you're looking for a stock example, because that's exactly what has happened here. You've got a traditional Gibson P90 pickup in here now, and it was also rewired with new 500K CTS pots, and you got a new output jack as well. So the electronics have been completely modified, so it has more of a vintage junior sound. That's the number one complaint of some other people, is the P90H lost some of its 50s characteristics. So you're probably wondering, why would somebody dismantle and change a limited edition guitar? Here's something I did not realize before owning this one. These Les Paul Juniors weren't necessarily limited editions. There were actually 3 runs of these guitars, ranging from 2006 all the way until 2012. The first 2 runs, the finishes available were black, sunburst, and white. It is impossible to find information out there on them anymore because when Gibson updates their website, they delete anything that's not true anymore for the new run. So if you go to Gibson.com, you look these things up, you will see that they're saying they were only available in black and sunburst, and they have a Granadillo fretboard. I'm pretty sure the first 2 runs have rosewood, but the white finish is extra special because, well, you have to watch this video to fully understand that. But it gets ebony. So sure, these were limited editions with Billie Joe's signature on the back of the headstock, but they weren't super limited by any means. This guy's had a lot of signature guitars though. You might not realize it, but he's had the 2 juniors starting in 2006 and once again in 2018. He's had an ES-137, a double cut junior that followed this one in 2012, and a J-180 acoustic guitar. So now the big question. I owned this guitar very briefly at the same time as the 2018. Which one is better? Which one should you buy? Brand new, they were both the same price, believe it or not. This is a much better guitar in my opinion. You know how there's like a Les Paul Studio and then like a classic? This guitar, it almost feels closer to a historic reissue. The features like the vintage style tuners that are 3 in a row, as well as the inked on serial number, paired with these tortoiseshell colored pickguard and truss rod cover, it really makes this guitar feel a little bit more special, and it also helps that it's a little bit more traditional. Now that doesn't mean that the 2018 run is bad. I actually did like that guitar, but if I had to choose between the two, I would go for an original run. And one of the big factors for that is these things have the sweetest case ever. Leopard print interior, but we'll take a look at that a little bit later. So now that we've learned a little bit more about this Billie Joe signature Les Paul Jr., let's go ahead and hear how this one sounds. Now that we know how this guitar sounds, let's go ahead and review its condition. Alright, Billie Joe, Green Day. What does that equal? Punk rock, stickers, trashing your guitar, essentially. Is that what happened to this one? Yes. I'm sure there were stickers all over this thing. They glued something to the back here, but we'll look at that in a minute. You've got quite a few scratches on the face of the headstock here. I mean, this thing was much worse off when it came to me. I just got done cleaning it, so you might see some residue from my cleaning oils. But besides some scratches on the headstock, you don't have anything major to worry about. Your truss rod is still perfectly adjustable and has plenty of room left. I'm assuming this is a rosewood fretboard since it is a very first year production model. The frets do show a very little bit of wear, nothing you're going to have to worry about at this time, but I would suggest a professional setup if you're kind of picky with how your action is. The action's low, but I noticed maybe a little bit of buzzing on the low strings. Nothing you'll hear through your amp or anything. I just want the picky setup people to expect to have to do some adjustments. If you're like me and you don't really care too much, yeah, you'll be fine with this one. You've got a bunch of kind of heavier scratches right here. You know, Green Day stuff, you're doing this a lot. So that's kind of how that happened. They polished out okay. They used to be a lot more ever apparent at all angles, but now it's just kind of when you get it in the light. A wear pattern I like is there's a smiley face right here. You got your two eyes and then the scratch. Oh, you gotta love little stuff like that. But lots of heavy scratching to the top of this. Original tailpiece, but again, your pickup has been upgraded to a traditional style P90. Original pick guard here. Funny story, I took that off. There was a pick just lost in there. So somebody was kind of just hanging it under there. But that is the condition on the front. Back of the headstock, our serial number is 062875, which makes it a first year example, which is kind of cool. And you have Billie's signature right there. You've got some scratches on the neck. No major nicks or dings though. Just your average player's wear. And again, it is a 60s neck profile, but with a little bit of roundedness to it. Now, if it wasn't for this spot, I would say this guitar, the shape isn't too bad. Here's my guess of what happened here. They had to have glued something on here, and then when they took it off, it kind of ripped the finish with it. Now, the reason why I say glued is because if you look up here, you can see it took some of the finish there, and you can see a little white outline just on the outside of the neck, and it runs a little bit right there. At first, I was like, ooh, has the neck been repaired or something? I do not believe so. I can't get anything in there well enough to wipe the rest of that off, but I took my nail a little bit, and this used to look a lot worse. So I think it's just residue from all of this. We'll take a look under Blacklight, but I honestly don't think there's any issues with this neck. If it had been reset or something, you would see it along the other edges as well, but you don't. There you can kind of see outlines of other stickers. I'm guessing under Blacklight we'll be able to see a lot of that as well. Again, this has been rewired with 500K pots, new output jack. It looks like they replaced the screws here as well with the flathead ones. So plenty of scratches on the back. A lot of it is this guitar is just black. You see everything. At least there's no huge gouges anywhere out of this guitar. The only other thing I have to disclose here is non-original strap pins. They're kind of like the fake strap locks. They'll lock onto your strap a little bit better simply because they're a larger head. You've got a small ding right there. And other than that, it's well worn, but I wouldn't necessarily say abused. Unless you count this as abuse. But you could probably get somebody to touch that up pretty easily because black is fairly easy to color match. Speaking of black, it's Blacklight time. Alright, here we go, Blacklight. This is interesting. You see the knobs glow? That almost makes me think these might be older than the guitar, so those have potentially been replaced. You don't normally see modern knobs glow like this. But then again, the pickguard is glowing and I'm very confident that's original, so maybe they just made these knobs out of a similar material, or it's just been in the sun a lot. But here you can see that chip in the finish, and that somebody's sweaty arm was right here and it kind of absorbs. That's what makes it glow a little bit more right there. But everything on the face of the guitar is looking pretty good. But I'm interested to see what we're gonna see on the back. Yeah, there we go. You can see, obviously you've got some missing finish here. The finish does feel rough right here, but it's not necessarily where you're gonna feel it, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But we'll get a good look at the neck heel here. I don't see any foul play, so I think you're good on this example there. But here you can see where there was a sticker, and I see the outline of one like right in this area as well. And this glows a lot once again because of a sweaty body. Take a look at our edges here. I mean, this was definitely a well-loved guitar. So if you're looking for something that's kind of stood the test of time here, I mean, somebody played it for a reason. Now again, this neck finish is glowing a lot more because of a lot of sweat has been on it and absorbed. Now if that headstock didn't glow at all, that's when you'd have to be like, That's kind of when you look at the front of the headstock to see if there's anything been touched up there. Also, the closer you are to the blacklight, the easier it is to tell that it's glowing. This guitar does still retain its original case. Honestly, if the first version Les Paul Jr. doesn't have this case, I do not suggest buying it for more than like $1,000 because I have seen these cases sell for almost $400 on their own, simply because people like to put these with other guitars because they have this unique leopard print interior. The 2012 Double Cut Junior's got a leopard gig bag. So this one, I mean, it's in good shape here. All your latches are present. The combo lock is busted though. It doesn't necessarily latch anymore. You can see somebody forgot the combination and had to pry it open. So you could replace that fairly easily. They do sell replacement kits on eBay. But your handle's still there and your other latches are present and functioning. But the case does show some wear. I mean, this is not necessarily a collectible version, but I would still say it's worth about $250 on its own. You have the Green Day emblem there and the Gibson USA logo up here. The back side of the case shows some wear and sticker residue, but it's in okay shape. The interior still has its lid ribbon here, which is probably a better place to put it because it seems when Gibson always puts them here, they break. So that one's still functioning. And you also have a case compartment there. So very cool case. And I personally believe it is this case that's the reason why these have held and gained value on the used market. If you think you might be interested in being the next owner of this first year 2006 Billie Joe Les Paul Jr. with a P90 pickup in it, feel free to check out that link in the description. That will take you to the Reverb for sale ad. Thank you Troglodytes for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.